Is anybody else shocked that Yoongi is born out of wedlock? Like Jin Do-jun's father was born out of wedlock. I was not expecting that at all. And I assume this is going to play a bigger role in the drama. Hi everyone, welcome to the Dramasology Podcast. This episode covers Reborn Rich, episodes 7 and 8, starring Song Joong-ki, Shin Hyun-bin and Sung-min. So as you guys know, there was no episode on Friday because of the World Cup. Personally, I could care less about the World Cup, so I was kind of a little pissed. But I understand that a lot of people enjoy the World Cup, so they have to create space for that to air. But yeah, so the first episode we got was on Saturday. And I mean, these past two episodes were very good. Like, the hype is getting higher, the stakes are getting higher, and so it was very interesting to watch this past two episodes. The biggest reveal of these past two episodes were the fact that Yoongi, that's Jin Do-jun's father, is born out of wedlock. Or was born out of wedlock. I was not expecting that, guys. And it's funny because all the characters, when we find out about this scenario, about this situation, everybody already knows about it. So it's just us, the audience, that has no idea, right? Because I recall in the scene where Jin Do-jun's aunt is telling him that, it's noblesse oblige, we are doing this because, we want people to see us as good people. That's why your dad is still in the family. Jin Do-jun is not shocked. Or Yoon Hyun-woo is not shocked by that, right? So everybody clearly knows about this. So it's just us, the audience, that's finding out about this now. And I don't know why that is and what that means, because I assume that, this means two things, I think. The first one is not very interesting, while the second one might be more interesting. The first one, possible reason that we are just finding out about this is that maybe Jin Do-jun or Yoongi, maybe Yoongi is not even the child of Jin Yang-chol either, right? But this is not very interesting because as someone that has watched a lot of dramas, especially daily dramas, those dramas that are usually about 50 episodes long or even 120, this is a common plot where the rich guy basically brings in the child of, say, his friend or his colleague that he had, he's guilty about something, and so he decides to raise the child of his colleague, that kind of thing. So it's somebody possibly Jin Yang-chol knows about, or somebody that Jin Yang-chol was close to growing up, or something like that. That's the first example, the first possible scenario. But again, this is something we've all seen before, right? So I would not expect that for a Song Joong-ki kind of drama, right? While the second one is that it's possible that, yes, Yoongi is the child of Jin Yang-chol, but like they said, he's not the child of the grandma, which is more interesting because I have no idea where that could possibly go. Because the reason they've revealed it at this point and not at the beginning means that it matters in some way. I assume that's why they are revealing it now. It's going to matter in a while, but I can't guess where that could possibly be going, because I don't know, that's what makes it more interesting. Because if it's the first scenario, then I'm like, yeah, we all know how that goes and everything. It kind of gives Jin Do-jun more of a reason to enact the revenge and everything. But if it's the second reason, then there's more interesting dynamics going on there, because then we don't know. I look forward to knowing why it happened and who Yoongi's mom is, that kind of thing, right? But yeah, I was shocked by that reveal. I was not expecting that at all, because I just assumed the reason why the grandfather did not like Yoongi was because he decided to marry somebody that he did not approve of. But that's not the case. There's another reason, right? And I want to find out if that's the reason really why Jin Yang-chol is kind of cold towards Yoongi. Maybe that's the reason why he is very hard on Yoongi and Yoongi's family, right? So I look forward to that and see where that goes. But aside from that, just to mention some things that I noticed about this past two episodes, I have to say that I can't believe I'm going to say this because it kind of goes against Jin Do-jun's whole principle and what he's working towards. But I kind of understand why Jin Yang-chol is prefers the eldest son to inherit. Like he mentions that, right, when they're in the hospital and he's having his eldest son checked. He mentions that it's basically hell, right, if he has to watch his children fight tooth and nail for control over the company. And I understand that fact, because if it's the eldest son that inherits, then everybody else won't feel like it's unfair, because again, it's the eldest son. So there's this sense of it's only right. They might feel like there might still be a greedy feeling of like I want more and everything. Like with the second middle child, like you can tell he wants more and everything, but not at the expense of the eldest son. He still understands that it's the eldest son, and so the eldest son most likely has the most right. But his problem is that he believes, as Jinyancho's son as well, he should also get a large portion, right? That's basically how his thought process goes. So if somebody like Jin Do-jun, who is the youngest son of a child born out of wedlock, like it's a whole different case, because then that unfairness is multiplied by 100, right? The eldest son who went to jail because to save the company, right, he's going to feel like this is out of the question, right? So I understand why he is deciding to go with the eldest son. So even though he kind of understands, I know he knows that his eldest son is not the best at business, he is willing to go with him, because sometimes going with the lesser option is probably the best option, because the other scenario would be if he gives it to Jin Do-jun, and basically all the siblings and the like grandchildren will fight forever, right? Because they're all going to feel it's so unfair that Jin Do-jun is the one that got control over Sun-yang. So that's why I also like the way Jin Do-jun is approaching this, in that he wants to buy Sun-yang, because if he buys it fair and square, no one can come and say like, oh, you don't deserve, like it's his money that he bought it with the company. And so him, and I like the scene where I don't know why the aunt is kind of dumb like that, but I like the scene where she's basically insulting him, right? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, is this lady like blind, or is she dumb? Like, how dumb do you have to be not to see that this is going to come back and bite you in the ass? But again, it's still that sense of like he's purchasing Sun-yang little by little, right, for giving the aunt money that he knows she won't be able to pay back because she's a greedy bitch, right? And giving her money because he knows she won't pay back, and that way he gets control of a portion of Sun-yang. And I assume that's how he's going to play it till the very end of like how he's going to take over this company, right? So yeah, I get where Jin Yancho is coming from, and he's not a bad character. He's not particularly evil. In fact, I would say he's very humane. He understands the relations between his kids and his grandkids, right? And so he's trying his best. Given the amount of money he has just so much money that he knows they will fight over this, and so he's going with the easiest option to make this not turn into a bloodbath, right? So I like his character. It's a very well written character so far. We'll see if that continues, but for now it's great. And then I have to say I'm so sad, because I knew that Mo Hyun-min would marry Jin Sung-jun regardless. Like, she was going to be the eldest daughter-in-law. I knew that from the beginning, but I was still kind of sad because that just killed the romance I had in my head for Mo Hyun-min and Jin Do-jun. And I have to say that, oh my God, Jin Sung-jun, the eldest grandson, he creeps me the hell out. Like, there's something about the way he smells that's just so creepy. And I don't know if it is acting or if that's just how the character, like, if that's just how the actual actor smells. I don't think that's how the actor actually smells. I think it's because of the role he's playing that he's putting on that facade, because Jin Sung-jun almost seems like a psychopath when he smells, because I can tell he's not really smiling, right? And there's a moment when he's talking to Mo Hyun-min, right, inside the wedding hall, and he's like, I don't know, it's like a robot or something. His smile disappears, and it's almost like he has to like redo it. Like, it was so weird for a second there, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this guy just creeps me out, and I don't know why, but it's his smell, and I feel like he's a psychopath. Like, I am waiting for that moment where they show just how crazy he is. For now, they're still like showing him as kind of smiley, kind of pissed sometimes, but still, I still sense there's a beast inside him that is going to be unleashed on Jin Do-jun one of these days. Like, so, like, I have to give it up to the actor. Like, he's actually unsettling to watch, honestly. Like, every time I see him, I'm just like, oh, this guy, something about him. because I can't place where his thoughts is. Even in the old life, I just couldn't place him well enough. I don't know why. Like, so yeah, I mean, good acting, honestly, very, very good. But yeah, now that the romance with Moon Hyun-min is basically dead, I could see them trying to push the one with Min Young, right? Like, there's a scene where he goes to see her in the cafe, and I guess she's not there, and so, he is driving back home, and that's the moment where Min Young comes in, and the waiter, the cashier the cashier tells her that, oh, like, there's a guy here that, always orders Vienna coffee, and he just left and everything. And so she runs out and she's looking for him on the street. And throughout that time, I was just like, because there's like background music playing on and everything, and it's supposed to be romantic, and I'm just like, ugh, I'm not feeling this romance. Why don't I feel it? I don't know why, but I was just like, okay. I mean, I guess because I knew she was the female lead, but like, gosh, I wish Moon Hyun-bin was like the female lead. She just has more character to her for now. We'll see when Sung Min Young becomes a prosecutor, and maybe their romance will get better, but for now, she's very bland. She's not well written, I think. Not enough character to how like she sees life and everything. So I don't know. She just isn't doing it for me for now, and it feels bland when it feels okay, guys. You guys have watched K2. A lot of people that watch K2 or Startup know what I'm talking about, where there's a character that obviously is better than the male lead or the female lead, but like the writers just push the one that they think should be it, right? And so in K2, it's the character of Anna, right? And in Startup, it's the character that Joo-hyuk, I think is Nam Joo-hyuk plays. And I'm just like, there's always that character, and I hope that's not how Reborn Rich will be, where even to the end we are like, oh, they had no chemistry. I hope that's not what happens. But for now, that's how it seems to me, which is unfortunate because I really wished there was better chemistry. But again, I think someone mentioned that Reborn Rich isn't like the original novel, or so is not like highly, like it's not, it has not very much romance, so maybe it's okay that the romance is kind of lackluster. We'll take it like that for now. I guess. Another thing I liked that I feel like I should mention is the bonding moment between Jin Do-jun and his parents, because I like it because it kind of gives him more of a like emotional tie to them and emotional attachment to them. And like, for example, it was after the bonding with his mom and dad that the aunt mentions the fact that, oh, like his dad is born out of wedlock and blah 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 blah, blah. And you can like tell like it got him angry. And so I'm happy to see that, because I feel like he needs that to have more motive to take over Sunyan, and that's a kind of motive that I can get behind. Like, I actually want to see that aunt, like that lady, crushed. I like her husband and I like their relationship, like the relationship between the aunt and her husband, but I really disliked her in that one scene because it was very uncalled for. So the bonding moments between his mom and dad, and just seeing them show, like, it was good because it helped him see that they care for him, right? And I think his character needed to see that and grow more connected to them. So I loved seeing that. And I mean, his brother is always is always funny to watch. And it's funny because I didn't place he was his brother at first. Like, I thought it was his friend. Even when he's in front of like Jin Sung-jun and Jin Do-jun, and when he's dancing to Soteji, I was still like, why are they just watching him dance and no one is saying anything? But I realized it's because they are used to it. And it's because it's Jin Do-jun's brother. I didn't realize. I thought it was his friend or something that he just took around. Like, male leads always have that one friend that's always around. But I didn't know this time. I didn't place that. It's probably because I've seen that actor act as somebody's friend multiple times. So it didn't click to me that he was supposed to be the brother at first. But yeah, I do have to say, back to Jin Yan-chul's character, I guess, because I mean, they're still in the like 80s or is it 90s, right? I assume possibly that Jin Yan-chul's character, like, he's not going to make it into the 21st century because of like the hemorrhage in his head, right? He had a ticking time bomb in his head, so it's possible that actually he won't make it to the later half of this drama, like his Sung-min's character, because of that. And that's unfortunate because it actually is, even though I have a problem with his age playing the grandfather, I actually do enjoy his character. and I liked the moment where he realized that, because I don't know why he hadn't realized it at first, but when he realizes that the child or the family member that resembles him the most is Jin Do-jun. And that's partly why he doesn't like him, because it's something that Jin Hyun-chul would have done if it was in his case. So, it's unfortunate because I think he's not going to make it. And it's kind of sad because I feel like Jin Do-jun will kind of be the reason why something bad happens to him because of like maybe high blood pressure or something like that. But yeah, that's unfortunate. But for now, we'll enjoy the time we have with this character and just hopefully it's not going to be too bad and I won't miss him too much. Now, just to mention my favorite scene in episode 7, I really like the scene with Moon Hyun-min and Jin Do-jun. I know I keep saying it, but like their chemistry is fire, honestly. And so I liked that little like moment they had in the construction like building or like apartment, because there's something about that those two that just works for me. And so I just liked seeing that little moment, even though like we're never going to get anything like that ever again. So I really enjoyed watching that part in episode 7. Then in episode 8, the scene in the wedding hall where Jin Hyun-chul basically tells them that no longer will the eldest son be the one to inherit by default, that anybody who can get Sunyan Group is going to inherit the company. And the tension in that room is out of this world. And I just liked seeing that scene because, Jin Do-jun is just so relaxed. Like, he's not even a little bit like worried or like shocked or anything. Like, I just love seeing male characters. Like, okay, so I don't typically like characters that are weak, and so Jin Do-jun's character is very easy to like because he's not OP, but he's kind of OP. And when I mean OP, those that like watch or read manga or watch anime know that like OP means overpowered, like a character that's so powerful that he's always going to succeed in whatever he does, right? And so Jin Do-jun is kind of like that. He's kind of OP, and I love it. I love seeing it, right? And so just seeing him just stare at his grandfather, as his grandfather basically tells everybody that like eldest son doesn't have to inherit, like it could be anybody. And it's just like he wasn't flinching, like they've been like making eye contact and nobody was flinching. And I just love that because like it just shows how much of a boss Jin Do-jun is. That scene was very good, and that was like my favorite scene in episode 8 because now, like he said, this is where the battle begins. Like brothers are going to rip brothers apart, like people are going to start fighting to the death over Sunyan Group, right? And so this is really where the drama starts, and I'm so excited because now this is what I want, because this is where the stakes are getting higher and higher, right? And I love it when I love watching something like that because it's very enjoyable. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this drama for episodes 7 and 8. Thank you all for listening. So the Dramasology Podcast is on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Please rate me there. And if you have comments or you have feedback for me, or you just want me to review a specific drama, you can let me know at facebook.com/dramasology. I'm also on TikTok. You can also visit my website dramasology.com if you want to see like a different platform. Say you don't like Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, you can go to my website dramasology.com and choose the podcast